of a friend.
Nice.
But one of the prompts was the Taoist breathing in and out through the soles of your feet. And it's like, it's so basic and it's so amazing. It's so amazing, just for 2 minutes, And I just felt completely different just after doing that for 2 minutes, very relaxed, very like, all of my attention has now dropped down my body, through my body, into my feet, and to my connection with the earth, which feels phenomenal.
Right, because that's where your best information is going to be coming from.
Yeah.
That's where the useful information. And then if you throw in a longer out breath with that, and you bring the parasympathetic nervous system online, like next thing you know, like, okay, I'm awaiting further instructions from a very soft and receptive place. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there is actually nothing to fear. I belong to everything and always have. Oh, wow.
Yeah. 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 Amazing.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Yeah. Really, really good. And that full turn of trust feels so good as well, because the kind of misplaced trust in another, which can never be true. And then the I can't think of the word, but like the rebound of going, I must only trust in myself, which also can't be true, to the whole, which is trusting in everything.
I trust in emergence.
Trust in life. I trust that life is benevolent and that it is here for me. I
trust the ecology of erotic emergence. I don't trust the story I have about who I am. I do trust that. I trust it all. And I'm not worried. Like, the thing is, I find that people talk a lot about needing safety from another person, like needing someone else to provide a sense of safety. And to me, like, that runs so counter to that sense of trust in all that is.
Yeah.
Like it could, and that's like that thing that you're talking about of like, once you're dependent on someone else for you to open, then you totally lose your center.
Yeah, completely.
Then you just get buffeted about like that bounce that you're talking about, a hard surface and just reverberating and ricocheting like a racquetball with nobody inside the box,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I love that. I love that as a whole way of understanding, the like, the relief in it, there's such a relief in understanding that it's working. It's okay. And it's all right. And I don't need to brace, which brings back that softness.
How do you talk with your clients about safety in relationship?
How do I talk to them?
This is something I've been thinking about a lot. Like, there's such an emphasis put on it sometimes, and I think sometimes that emphasis is misplaced because it can have a really awful effect on desire. There's a certain element of danger necessary for desire, and there's a certain amount of danger required to trust, to have that trust in all that is, that allows for real intimacy to take place.
I kind of feel like it bears a similarity to long-standing and deep yoga work, where you start from the outside and you start to move to the inside. So it's very, very coarse to begin with, and you're focusing on, this is my quad muscle, and this is how my hand works, and blah, 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 until you actually you move into not only subtle body, but into the very, very deepest layers of what's inside. There's no way you could have felt those at the beginning. Right. Because you just did not have that awareness.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And that's how I understand and how I guide people towards sense of, I don't think I ever call it safety, but it's this sense of internal strength that comes from being internally referenced. Because so many of the women who come to me are, and of course, because this is my story, have been externally referenced for so long. Yeah. Which, without doubt, always comes with major wobbles, because how can it not? If you're always looking outside of yourself to understand, like, whether you're okay or not, as soon as that outside of you changes, you're not going to be okay. So it's just like, duh.
But it's like the same duh as like being in your head for 2 months and being like, wow, I am in this loop that's generating nothing but anxiety.
Yeah.
Like the energy is not getting out of me. It's just circulating inside me like an ingrown hair that needs to be popped. And like, I just need to get into my feet.
Yeah, and that is fully directed to myself.
Absolutely,
you know, fully,
God,
because that is as well
totally
my struggle, and you know, an experience that is part of the spectrum of what I'm aware of. But definitely this internal, it's like, okay, so I like to look through the lens of masculine and feminine as well, and go, okay, so let's have a look at your healthy masculine structure. What does that look like for you? Because with a lot of women, there is no problem with the feminine flow other than it doesn't feel safe enough to come out yet and to show itself and to be deep and full and all those amazing things. It's not like it doesn't need coaxing. It doesn't need stoking. It doesn't require to be grown,
but it does need a container.
It just is, but it needs a container. And if you are constantly looking outside of yourself for that container instead of having your own, then that's going to cause problems.
It makes a mess. You can't help you can't help but seep and leak instead of filling a well.
Yeah,
you know, it's just making a mess. But that's the inner hieros gamos. Like that is like the work of alchemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
once you can move between them. And that's so interesting because that's really your 2 hexagrams too, to bring it back around. Like it is having, when that yin energy becomes so dominant that it leads to collapse and that it needs to be, it's like that 43 is almost like the water coming out of a hose. Like the yang lines are like the container that are directing the yin. Like they give it structure, give it shape so that it can move into the world, so that it can water the garden, so that it can nourish and quench, you know?
Yeah.
And being able to have that agility inside, I mean, that's the mastery piece, isn't it?
It's so perfect. It's like I can't get over the perfection of the reading, actually. Because there are so many parts of this whole experience that has shaped me so kind of roughly, but so expertly in the last 6 months that are so resonant with this, you know, especially the collapse. It's far easier for me to look outside of me and to go, oh, look, there's the masculine. It's right there. You don't need to make your own. He's right there.
Right?
And then he fucks off and I'm leaking all over the place. So,
yeah, the soggy roof is falling in.
Yeah. So it's beautiful, you know.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. Really. But then being able to have the capacity to hand that structure over when it is provided is also so beautiful.
Yes. Yeah.
Able to be like, okay, I know these are my skills. And then now I am, oh God, for me to be in that full, open, blooming, like soft, squishy.
Oh, so sexy. Yeah. So good.